Hello, I'd like to welcome you and thank you for joining our workshop on interview preparation and practice. The National Capital Region YMCA-YWCA is a charitable, voluntary, community-based association dedicated to improving the quality of life for children, youth, adults, and families through programs that build spirit, mind, and body. The National Capital Region YMCA-YWCA provides opportunities for personal growth and character development by providing unique and contemporary programs for everyone, regardless of race, religion, creed, ability, or economic circumstance. The Y Employment Access Center offers a variety of employment services, including resource and information services, workshops, and assisted services. If you'd like to learn more, please feel free to speak to the Resource Center staff or your employment consultant. By the end of this workshop, you will be able to identify the different kinds of interviews that you may encounter, understand how to prepare for your interview, and develop strategies to successfully answer questions. Identify what employers are looking for when interviewing a candidate and how to deliver on those things, and understand the importance of follow-up as part of the interview process. During your job search, you may encounter various different types of interviews, including structured and non-structured interviews, one-on-one, panel, or group interviews, responsive or reactive stress-based interviews, phone interviews, informational interviews, or traditional or behavioral interviews. A structured interview is one where the interviewer has a prepared set of questions and will typically ask the same questions and follow the same structure with each candidate. An unstructured interview is more conversational. There are no prepared questions. The interviewer chats with the candidate to assess them. A one-on-one interview is where there is one interviewer and one interviewee. A panel interview will have more than one person on the interview team. A group interview has more than one candidate in the interview. This tends to be used during job auditions. Responsive and reactive stress-based interviews put the candidate in an uncomfortable position. The interviewer will ask a strange question or do strange things to create stress. This is used to gauge how you will deal with stress. A phone interview is generally used as a pre-interview or pre-screening tool. A traditional interview is based on what-if questions, whereas a behavioral interview will be questions based on specific times and situations. Before the interview, it is very important to prepare yourself. Various ways that we can do this is through conducting research, planning for the interview, practicing, and learning how to make a good first impression. Researching the company is a great option. You will be able to demonstrate knowledge of the company's history, mission, philosophy, organizational structure, and position descriptions within your interview. Prepare your route, your time, your day. Don't leave anything to chance. Prepare and practice answers to potential interview questions. Prepare your outfit and yourself. First impressions are lasting impressions. Make sure your first impression is a good one. Conducting your research prior to an interview is very important. You should be able to answer the following questions. Why do you want to work for our company? What do you know about us? And what are your salary expectations? Start your research with the company's website. Browse through the entire website. Make notes on the types of questions that an interviewer may ask. Find out the company's strategic goals, special projects, and new developments. Find out the company's missions, visions, and value statements. This will tell you about culture and enable you to demonstrate fit. Check Google, especially if a company doesn't have a comprehensive website. This will give you another perspective on the employer. You can also go to a competitor's website. This provides insight on industry or sector. Use Glassdoor and LinkedIn to find out about interviewing and other inside information about the company, but make sure that you adjust your privacy settings before exploring on LinkedIn. Planning for the interview is very important. There are various things that you may want to plan the day before your job interview. How are you going to get there? Do you know where the interview will be? Do you know the directions? Will you drive? And if so, where will you park? What bus route will you take? Double check your directions, bus routes, and forecast to avoid problems. What time is the interview? What time do you need to arrive? And what time do you need to leave in order to arrive on time? Set your alarm and make sure that you have time in the morning to do everything without being rushed. What are you going to bring with you? Of course, your portfolio, notes, pen, and pencil. Make sure that you bring your cover letter, resumes, and references for each interviewer. Bring any other materials that the employer may have asked for, as well as your research. Furthermore, prepare your questions and bring those with you as well. Answers to questions. It's important to research the kinds of questions that you may expect in a job interview and prepare your answers in advance. By reviewing the job posting or job description, it becomes easy to anticipate the types of questions that you might be asked. Practice answering these potential questions to demonstrate your skills and abilities. Most interview questions typically fall into two categories, traditional or behavioral. Traditional questions are hypothetical. They're not focused on past events. Examples of these questions would be, tell me about yourself, and what would you do if? Behavioral questions are probing and specific. They focus on past experiences. An example of this might be, tell me about your greatest achievement, or tell me about a time when. Behavioral interviews are becoming the norm. They assume that past experiences are the best predictor of future behaviors. They focus on experiences, behaviors, knowledge, skills, and abilities. Interviewers are trying to determine three things during an interview. Can you do the job? Who are you? And are you a good fit? You want to try and demonstrate interest, experience, and aptitude. What do you like? How do you work? Will you be a part of the solution, or will you be a part of the problem? Do they like you? Will you be enjoyable to work with? During your job interviews, you may encounter various types of interview questions. Questions surrounding your qualifications may focus on your educational background, your work and volunteer experiences, as well as your strengths and weaknesses. Try to demonstrate honesty, confidence, relevant experience, and skills. Questions around motivation seek to understand more about your interest in the position, what you have to offer, and where you want to be. Try to show realistic expectations, personal interest in the position, and the employer. Teamwork-based questions seek to understand how you work with other people. Try to demonstrate cooperation, open-mindedness, and respect. Problem-solving based questions seek to understand how you deal with conflict and how you cope with pressure and stress. Demonstrating good judgment, problem-solving skills, and honesty is very important. Knowledge of the organization questions seek to understand more about how you can contribute to the team, your related experience, and your fit within an organization. Try to demonstrate good knowledge of the company, partners, and competition. You want to be prepared with answers, but it's important not to sound too scripted. Employers will be assessing growth potential, ability to learn, flexibility, stability, and dependability. As best as possible, answer questions by telling a story, either in describing experiences that you have had or by telling the story of what you would do. Following the STAR technique is a great way to do this. The STAR technique has 4 components: situation, task, action, and result. The situation explains the situation, the key players, and sets the scene for the story that you are going to tell. The task outlines what the problem was that had to be solved or overcome. The action describes the steps that you took or would take, and the result describes the outcome. An example question and answer might be, what would your coworkers say about you? The STAR technique answer might sound a little something like this. My coworkers and I had an excellent working relationship, one with a great deal of mutual respect. We often collaborated on department-wide projects, such as the release of Software 2.0, where, though we were each in charge of separate aspects of the release, we often shared responsibilities in order to quality check the other's work and thought process. Based on these work experiences, I believe they'd say I was someone they could really rely on that delivered top-notch work and easily worked within a team. First impressions are lasting ones. Remember, your assessment starts right from the time that you are invited for the interview. Expect that everything you do from that moment forward will be scrutinized. Be aware of how you present yourself over the phone and in correspondence. Arrive at the interview prepared. Don't prepare your resume package in the lobby. Someone will be watching. You only get one chance to make a first impression. Make sure you're presenting yourself in the best way. It only takes 11 seconds for someone to form an impression of you. Plan all of your interactions with a potential employer in order to avoid blunders. Make sure that once you started applying to jobs, your social media is cleaned up, your voicemail has a professional message, and you answer the phone in a professional way. Take time to respond thoughtfully to any emails from a potential employer. Follow up in a timely manner to emails and missed phone calls. Try to accommodate the employer's schedule for an interview, but don't agree to something that doesn't work for you. Practice your handshake. Comfortably firm. Use 2 to 3 shakes, your pointer finger to guide, and use only one hand. Don't clasp with a second hand. Plan to be on display from the moment you arrive. Many employers will check with the receptionist after the interview to see how a candidate behaves. Dress for success. Plan your outfit the day before. Make sure it's clean and pressed. Dress appropriately for your sector or industry. Wear solid colors. Dress nicely, but don't allow your clothing to speak for you. Don't neglect your shoes. Limit jewelry and be fragrance-free. Have clean and tidy hair. Wear light makeup. Keep nails trimmed and clean. And have fresh breath. Make sure your clothes don't speak for you at your interview. You want your experiences, skills, and professionalism to speak for itself. Don't wear loud or fussy clothing, and don't allow your clothes to be more memorable than the conversation. Remember the one up, one down rule. During your interview, dress one level higher than their day-to-day dress, and on casual Fridays or dress down days, dress one level down. Many interviews follow a similar format. The pre-interview observation assumes that your interview has started the second you walk in the door. Oftentimes, the interview team will ask the receptionist their impression of the candidates based on their observations while waiting. The opening and rapport building is based on first impressions, which we know are very important. Practice your handshake and eye contact. Don't sit until the interview team has sat down. Be prepared and organized. The skills and experience assessment is the meat of the interview. Anticipate the kinds of questions that they will ask based on the skills and experience requested, and try to find a way to demonstrate these things in your answers. Once they know that you're qualified, the interview team will want to assess whether or not you'll work well within their team. Are you a good fit? Do you share their values? Will you complement the other members of the team? Will you be fun to have in the workplace? Next, it's your opportunity to ask any questions that were not answered as a part of the interview. Have your questions prepared in advance. Demonstrate interest in learning more about the position. During the closing, don't forget to ask about decisions, timelines, and for the contact information of the individual or individuals interviewing you. After the interview, it is very important to follow up. Just because you've walked out the door doesn't mean that they're done interviewing you. What you say is as important as how you say it. Research on nonverbal communication suggests that more than 90% of information taken in by an interviewer is nonverbal. Your posture, gesture, facial expressions, tone of voice, appearance, and composure are very important. Some tips for success during an interview are to set yourself up for success. Stay calm, confident, and friendly. Stay positive. Turn off your cell phone. Be aware of nonverbal communication. Try not to fidget, fuss with your hair, or cross your arms. Some additional tips are to be on time. Give a warm, friendly, and confident handshake. Try to be relaxed and calm. Stay positive. Be polite. Show that you know the company. Make and maintain eye contact. Sell your strengths. Describe how your skills match the position. Answer in a short and direct way. Ask questions when appropriate. Do not eat during an interview. Do not complain about previous jobs and employers. Do not sit or stand too close to the interviewers. Avoid inappropriate clothing and poor hygiene. Once an interviewer has completed asking their questions, it becomes your turn. Some questions you might ask are, what is the single largest problem facing your staff, and would I be in a position to help you solve this problem? What have you enjoyed most about working here? Do you have any hesitations about my qualifications or experience? Can you tell me a little bit more about the team I'll be working with? How will you define success in this position? What is the next step in the process? Some questions not to ask are, for information that you could have easily found online, if you can change the job details, schedule, or salary. Don't ask questions about any gossip that you've heard, about pay, time off, and benefits. Don't ask when you will get a raise, or if the company monitors email or internet usage. What does your company really do? Or can I work from home? After the interview, it's important to reflect on your performance and take time to reflect on the interview itself. Write down any questions that you had. Think about what went well. Identify potential areas that you can improve. Did you forget to say anything? You can use this information to guide you when you write your follow-up email. What's up with the follow-up? How should we follow up? By email, absolutely. Why do we follow up? To thank employers for their time. To follow up on any issues that came up during the interview. You also want to restate your interest in the position. A handwritten note delivered in person is also a very nice touch. Don't send your follow-up note by regular mail. It will arrive too late after the decision has already been made. If you want to send a handwritten note, deliver it in person and send a longer follow-up email addressing any issues, concerns, or notes that came up during the interview. The YMCA offers a variety of different workshops, so what should you be doing next? Workers' Rights, Health, and Safety allows you to learn about your rights at work and how to keep yourself safe while you're at work, for when you want to ace that interview and get the job. Job retention helps you to learn about the skills that will help you transition to your new job and communicate effectively with your new colleagues. Our social media and LinkedIn workshop allows you to learn how you can take your job search and networking online. Practice with a friend, book a mock interview, and follow up with your employment consultant. Talk to your EC or RCA about how to build on the skills that you've acquired today. And remember, practice makes perfect.